Well, here we are. We're doing our morning routine of eating shit off the sidewalk that I don't see. Somebody got a bath yesterday, looking good. You want to say hello? You want to say hello to everybody? Oh, you're such a good baby. Not really. Yes. Today's video is sponsored by nobody. Pros and cons and things I enjoyed when I lived in Vegas from 2000 to 2004 and then 2010 to 2011. Well, when I lived in Vegas, it was very, it's not really, I moved to Vegas without ever going to Vegas at all. My dad had just gotten out of prison. He was in McKean Federal, in Pennsylvania at the camp. When he got out, he said, I'm moving to Vegas. We all moved, me, him, and my stepmom, and drove across the country. The best thing about Las Vegas, by far, I'm not really a nightlife, go to the club guy. I had a club that I went to. My neighbor went to where I think his name was Boston, and Erica were our bartenders at the Glow on Tropicana at the Hop, it was called. I know it's a weird name. It was a really cool club that we went to. When I would go, there was like 7 people there, which is kind of like the story of my life. I'm not a big, other than when I bounced at places. The best thing about living in Vegas by far was the food. I've never had the best burritos in my life. Baja Fresh is a chain of burritos. I don't know where they get their meat or their carne asada, but it is by far Baja Fresh and Roberto's. Their burritos are like $3.75. It was a little rundown taco burrito place. But I lived in an area in Vegas, kind of near the Stratosphere, but behind the Sahara, on a place called Sierra Vista. It was like 5-something Sierra Vista. It looked like a gangster apartment complex. You walked in the gate and there was a pool in the middle, kind of like a Tupac video. I think I was paying $5.50. It came with furniture that was really horrible, and I used to park my moped inside my apartment. I don't remember ever buying a bed. I remember fumigating it for roaches. It didn't have them really that bad. The neighbors were okay, but there was a lot of cool restaurants in that area. There was a little Mexican restaurant that had really good tacos for $1. With the cilantro, the carne asada, the cheese, man. The food in Las Vegas is beyond anything I've ever experienced anywhere in my life. I mean, just Baja Fresh had the best. I mean, you can't even describe the fucking burritos that they had. They were just, I've never experienced anything. I mean, when people tell me, oh, this place has good burritos, I don't like being a dickhead or a burrito snob or anything like that. Moe's is probably the most, other than there are some taco trucks here, that you can get burritos at. And I'm sure they're good. I'm sure somebody has the fucking keys to the city here in Tampa. I just haven't experienced it. My favorite restaurant in Las Vegas is Makino's on Flamingo and Decatur, an all-you-can-eat sushi bar. I used to go with my friend Bobby. We used to meet for lunch. It was $15. My sushi bill would be like $200 a month when I lived in Vegas. It was the best sushi I've ever had. There was a couple other little restaurants here and there tucked in. Like I'd go to a place in Green Valley and Henderson area. Casinos had some decent sushi, but Makino's was probably the best. There was a pretty cool little Chinatown up the street on Decatur that had some really different food, like the pho or whatever it's called. Kimchi, different soups, fish stuff. I think the best burrito I ever had was when I crossed over the border with a friend of mine. It was a completely different trip. Where I stopped at a food cart, and I want to say it was goat cheese and carne asada. It was the best fucking burrito. The cheese on it, I have no idea. It was, I think it was like $2 for the burrito, and I think I gave the guy $15 in gratuity on top of it. One thing about visiting Mexicali, or Mexicali as they would call it, I'm not Hispanic, so I don't really have that kind of vernacular linguistically. I don't know where I'm going right now with my dog. I think we're taking this to an area where we're trying to get killed. They had more Asian restaurants in this part of Mexico than anywhere I've ever seen before. I guess I could tell the story. I was dating a Colombian girl that I met at church, and me and her 2-year-old daughter took her mom's Lexus to bring her cousin home to Mexicali, and I guess her mom didn't really care that we had her Lexus, which I just thought was a bad idea. But anyways, we break up every week, and we broke up on the trip down there because, if you've ever dated a Colombian girl, they are really prideful and, whatever. So we go to a club down there. We're in the basement of a club. The federales come in with their M16s, and I'm like, what the fuck is this all about, Terrifying to me, but it's just part of their thing. They come in and blow a whistle, meaning last call. A bunch of little 5'2" Mexicans with guns bigger than them. So Reina was a girl that I met who was with us and a bunch of other people. We were in the back seat driving home, and I leaned over to say something to her, which I don't know why I would even say anything to her because she doesn't understand English, but she thought I was kissing her or trying to kiss her, so she kissed me, and I just went with it. And my ex-girlfriend now dropped me off at her house in the slums, like literally fucking oil barrels full of fire, German shepherds roaming the streets, guys warming their hands, looking at me like they wanted to kill me, which I'm sure they did. You couldn't drive down one part of her street because it was barricaded with cars on their side, like they got hit with fucking RPGs. We ended up obviously sleeping together. The morning or afterwards, I was trying to go downstairs, and she was telling me you cannot go outside, which I'm pretty sure that's what she was saying. And I went outside, and I just remember like a fucking newspaper blowing across the street, and it was like a fucking bad Bruce Springsteen video. And in the morning we walked, I remember there was a baseball field. We walked to a hotel, and the guy was so pissed off that she had brought me in there to use the phone. There was no cell phones. And then my ex picked me up, and a couple of days later we went home, and on the way home, this is what she did to me, because this is how all Hispanic girls are, and women in general. She goes, we get to the border, I have a 2-year-old who's now 20-something fucking years old. I remember before we went there, she wanted to get steroids, and I just said, yeah, that's probably not a good idea, because they're not going to think they're for your brother, they're going to think they're for me. So she ended up bringing some, like, amphetamine diet pills across, which I was like, you do whatever you want. You get to the fucking customs, people are like, how did you know each other? And she's like, oh, I don't know, and the guy, I'm like, this isn't the time to play fucking games, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? Just fucking answer the guy's questions. She's like, the guy is like, well, do you know where this guy was born? And she just looks at me and says, Los Angeles. She's like, you were born in Los Angeles, right? I go, really? You think I was born in fucking California? I've known you for over a year. California? That's what you're going to say to the guy? And the guy's like, yeah, just pull over in the thing. And I go, why the fuck would you know I'm from fucking New York? She's like, you are from, yeah, that's right. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. That was how, so they pull us over, they look through the car, blah, 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 blah. They dump her shit out on the fucking hood, and she's got her little Mexican pills. They didn't even look at them. They're looking in the trunk. The dog runs around the car. They asked for the kid's passport or something, I believe, at that time, which is her daughter, and they let us go. And then drove through the Arizona desert at night. And Arizona desert's always beautiful, especially when the sun's going down. It just turns like fucking purple. Yeah, so that was my trip to Mexico. Oh, we went across the Tijuana through the Mexican mountain, through the mountains, and you get to these like stops where there's like a guy in a guard shack with a huge fucking AR-15, and you pay the little toll. But when we get to Tijuana, you know, obviously we're in a Lexus. We're with her gay cousin, and we get pulled over. It's near Christmas time, and you know, you can see the lights of San Diego and shit. It's my third time in Tijuana, and I'm always down for an adventure. So the guy, we get pulled over by you know, Federale, the Jeep cop, whatever, I don't even remember, and you know, they walk up to the car, blah blah blah, and she starts talking in Spanish to her gay cousin, who's just extremely flamboyant, and giving all the documentation to the car, to, you know, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know, I've seen enough movies to know that they just want money, you know. So she hands him a $20 bill behind her license. Come on, Hercules. She hands him a $20 bill underneath the license. He takes that, puts it in his pocket, and wants more. And the cousin gets out, and I guess it wasn't enough, you know what I mean? And they're like talking, and I'm in the back seat, and I can hear, it does not sound like a good conversation. And I'm just thinking in my head, I don't want to fucking go to jail. 1, in Mexico. 2, at Christmas time. 3, I have no idea what the process is. This is like before the fucking internet was what it is today. You know, I don't even know like how to make a phone call here. It's taking too long. Come on. It's taking way too long. He's taking way too long. I get out of the car, and I'm like showing my hands, and I'm showing that, you know, I know dinero in Spanish is money. I pull out like $26, $27. The guy looks at it, grabs it out of my hands, doesn't say anything. Other guy comes up, throws all the shit back in the car that's hers, and they just leave. And I'm like, bro, don't ever fucking try to negotiate when somebody's having, you know, oh, this is part of our culture, da, 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 da. I'm like, I don't really give a fuck, dude. For fucking $40, $50, I don't care if it was 100. Next time that happens, I'm more looking at speed and efficiency. I'm not trying to save $15. You know what I mean?